We interrupt your regularly scheduled broadcast to bring you news from Orlando, Florida. Full Sail University is officially on lockdown.
This isn't the coronavirus, this is Steel Cage Fever, and this is NXT.
Welcome everybody to What's in NXT for March 4th, 2020. I'm your host, the Rated R reviewer, Stefan Osborne, joined as always by the General Jerry Slaughter.
Good morning, wrestling fans.
And 5 matches on this show. So we've gone from a good show with the hour-long format being 4 matches and an in-ring promo to a 2-hour show that's now got 5 matches. Now granted, 2 of these matches were steel cage matches.
Yeah, and they wanted to really work the time for those.
Yeah, and they bookended the show. We had Tegan Nox versus Dakota Kai at the very first match, and then the main event was Roderick Strong versus Velveteen Dream.
Yeah.
We didn't get much of anything leading into this. This was like right off the bat, right off of the intro video.
Yep.
Again, like they're doing so well.
Morrow just pretty much just announced that the first match is going to be the first steel cage match, and we just went right into it.
Yeah, he was alone on the NXT perch, and that's about all they've made use of that thing as of late, is occasionally to put Mauro Ranallo up there by himself. Now, speaking of by himself, him and Nigel McGuinness are by themselves at the table because Beth Phoenix, I guess, got dropped with an RKO. I don't know. I don't watch Raw anymore.
She got dropped with an RKO.
So I'm hoping that...
Why am I smiling about this?
I'm hoping... Well, they wish her, speedy recovery, and they say that's why she's not there.
She's with her family, blah, blah, blah.
I'm hoping they're just going to write her off the announce team, and we're going to go to a 2-person format, because I kind of dig Mauro Ranallo and Nigel McGuinness.
That's it. That's all you need.
That's all you need.
No.
I would much prefer it to be Mauro Ranallo and... what's his name from 205 Live?
In English?
There you go. Yeah. He would be fun with Mauro Ranallo because I think he would make a great heel commentator across from Mauro.
He does give off the Justin by Ventura vibe when he talks.
But when it comes to the seasoned personalities on the mic, I think we got the best of the bunch in what we got. I'm not a huge fan of... there you go. Of course I love Mauro. But Nigel sometimes is just...
Oh, Nigel.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
We say, oh, Nigel.
So, Tegan Nox versus Dakota Kai. Now, Dakota Kai comes out, and there's 3 things that I noticed. First of all, she has got a new Tron.
Yep.
And it seems like every time we see her come out for another match, she's got a new Tron.
She used this one this last week, too, but, this one looks like she's actually going to stick with, and I like it.
Well, whatever's going on, fine, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What I also noticed is that she does come out with Raquel Gonzalez, formerly Rita Gonzalez, and I'll call her whatever the fuck I want to, because it's
R. Gonzalez.
Yeah, RG. Comes out with RG, and the whole point of this match was supposed to be, at least this is what the baby faces always say, like they're idiots. We're going to keep your friends out of the ring. So Gonzalez is going to be stuck on the outside. Yeah, of course she is, because she can't just walk up the steps and open the door and get in the ring and do whatever she wants, because
that's not allowed.
No disqualification in this match. Oh, I hate this shit. I really, really wish they don't. It's not like they hire disabled people.
No.
They can get rid of the door and make everybody climb over top.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't feel like it's safe enough to only have that option, then have them pin them or make them submit in the ring. Or, I don't know, make the mats outside thicker. Like, I don't think anybody would, like... in their mind, I don't think anybody would really like fight if they made those mats thicker and safer to land on. Like, I know consciously you're thinking, oh yeah, a DDT onto that wouldn't be shit, or whatever move it is. But honestly, for the safety of the wrestlers, I would take it because it would encourage them to do more fun stuff. Like, is it AEW that now has the padded chairs?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Because it still looks like you're swinging a fucking chair at somebody. Like, and now if you can hit somebody in the head with a chair because it's padded, even better. Because fuck, I miss the headshots with the chairs.
Mm-hmm.
The only way you can do it is when it's a concerto and the person's not actually getting tagged in the head. But anyway, this match was kind of fun.
Yes,
I liked the ending. The ending was kind of original.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting my second note in this match, other than the fact that they went into commercial off of Knox doing four running European uppercuts into the corner, where Dakota Kai just kept getting up. And it's like, why do you keep getting up? 4 times. And then finally she's down in the corner and she does what she calls the cannonball. That is, Tegan Knox runs in. And apparently she has been trained by Mike Hitchman, the Wild Boar, one half of the Hunt. And I mean, I said this before, like, she does the cannonball like the Wild Boar does. And sure enough, I guess it was just a nod to him after all. My second note, though, I expected my favorite part of this match to be what I saw next and liked, was the Portobello's commercial for Progressive, where you've got the people in the restaurant that are like, oh, what the hell? Are we on a Progressive commercial? I laughed my butt off, and I figured that was going to be my favorite part of this match, because it had been so slow up until that point.
Yeah.
Just neither one of them using the cage, just kind of just beating each other up. But anyway, and then I got a fuck ton of notes. But before I get into those, what were your thoughts on this cage match here?
I knew it was going to be a physical match, and it was. Like you said, it started off a little bit slow, but then it started picking up the pace towards the end, and we got to see a great chiropractor out of Dakota Kai. I think it's the best that we've actually seen out of it. I'll call it video game quality, because the way she landed and everything was just picture perfect, and the way Tegan sold it, great. And the ending of the match, original. I really liked it. And Reina Gonzalez, she did her part in the whole thing, pretty much as a threat to the outside. It's like, what's going to happen? Tegan's going to drop outside. She's going to win the match, and then get beat up by Raquel Gonzalez. So that doesn't really make much sense. But that didn't end up happening.
Nope.
So
yeah, and they kept teasing shenanigans back and forth and overcoming shenanigans, because we all know how that story goes.
And the ref never threw her out.
I wonder why. Is it because there was no disqualifications in a cage match?
Who knows?
At one point, we did see her get in the ring. Like, this was... So anyway...
It was a clusterfuck.
Yeah, I've got that perfect chiropractor that she did coming off of the Scorpion Kick. Got a near fall off of that, so I've got that note for Kai. And then Knox with a bunch of shit, like a choke slam off the top rope.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were both trying to climb the cage, and then she just threw her off the top rope.
It was the equivalent of when it was like the equivalent of when the Undertaker threw Rikishi off, because it looked more like a choke throw than it actually did a choke slam.
So she goes for another one of those running European uppercuts into the corner, and Dakota Kai, off of that, runs back with her, because like she's running to the other corner to go do it again. As soon as she turns around, Dakota Kai has run around the ring and caught her with one of those face washes in the corner. So Dakota Kai runs into the corner to do her second face wash, which is usually off an opponent that has fallen to their butt. Instead, Tegan Knox runs into the corner and hits her with a drop kick.
Yeah.
Now she goes up top, and she's clear to get out. However, Reina Gonzalez is outside, so she turns around and does a crossbody off the top of the cage instead, which the crowd goes nuts for, but she doesn't get into a cover fast enough.
No.
Let's see.
Really, really, really sold it.
Knox comes off, let's see, she crawls to the door, but then Gonzalez knocks the ref into the door and sandwiches the ref against the door and holds it shut. So Tegan can't get out that way. So again, she climbs the cage. Let's see. Where's it at? She goes to go over, and finally Dakota Kai comes up with her, and then she ends up knocking her off the top. And then Gonzalez goes to grab her and pull her out of the ring, Dakota Kai that is, by the leg. And that's when Tegan Knox kicks the door, because they're right next to the door here, kicks the door into Dakota Kai's leg. And
surgically repaired leg.
Yeah, and then she goes to climb down, but Gonzalez grabs the door, swings it over, and sandwiches her between the door and the cage, keeping her from being able to drop down. And then Dakota Kai just kind of eases her way outside and wins the match. Creative.
Yeah. So do we think this feud's going to keep on going? Do we see another match at TakeOver, or
probably?
Maybe
it was a fucky finish. Maybe
a tag match and have Tegan find a tag partner for the match.
Yeah, probably Candice LeRae.
Probably Candice LeRae.
Which I don't mean to sound it like that. Candice LeRae is a great addition. She has done some incredible matches, especially that one with Io Shirai. Good fucking god.
Could very well be Mia Yim too. I know.
So, Dakota Kai wins. And with extreme shenanigans.
Yes.
I don't even want to say it. Extreme shenanigans. So we've got a Finn Balor promo. This was another really good one. Talks about, it's NXT is his chessboard, and, he was going to make his next move, but instead,
he got
Walter,
his hand forced.
Forced his hand. And, let's see. He's not going to like the reaction, because every action has a reaction.
Inertia.
And he will see Walter sooner than he thinks. Now, I don't think that we're going to see him tomorrow.
I think we will, because it's Finn Balor. It's going to be Mastiff versus Walter.
Yeah, but it's already happened. Don't you think somebody would have said something?
No, because the British crowds are more respectful than the American ones.
No, that's news after it. Anyway, I don't think it's going to happen then. I think it's going to happen maybe next week.
I think it'll be a backstage attack after the match is over that hasn't been shown yet.
Yeah, that they can fake happen,
Exactly.
Right after. Brilliant, Jerry. Brilliant. For this, we get a promo package for Rhea Ripley, who visited I don't know what the stadium's name is. She's down in Tampa. She's at the stadium where WrestleMania is going to happen. And she's just awe-inspired. And she always got called a mini Charlotte, she says, when she started in NXT.
She did look like a mini Charlotte.
And Flair used to say, although he does still say, and that's our edit, or Jerry's edit, that to be the man, you got to beat the man. She said she is going to beat the woman to be the woman. And Jerry's, again, on the ball. He's like, dude, don't you, aren't you the woman? Aren't you the man? Aren't you you're the champ.
Yeah,
she's challenging you.
Yeah, so you're theoretically already the woman.
So, I don't know. It's cool. It's a nice little vignette to make her look like a sympathetic babyface.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of her talking. So,
it didn't have anyway. Shotzi Blackheart versus Chelsea Green with Robert Stone, who gets to introduce her, and that's all he gets to do in the match because she really didn't need. It seemed like she really needed his help to win, but suddenly now she's just going to roll over Shotzi Blackheart, who was made to look great against Shayna Baszler. And it's like, pick a lane, people. Either she needs him or she doesn't.
There's a lot of, now think about it, there's a lot of green in that ring.
I have two notes.
We have Chelsea Green, we have Shotzi Blackheart. This is all decked out in green.
I have Chelsea Green hitting a backstabber off Shotzi trying to do a slingshot where she goes butt first into the middle rope. Kind of like how Leo Rush does with the bottom rope before he does the come up. And she hits her with the backstabber with that for a near fall. And then where she just sort of out of nowhere just hits the I'm prettier for the pinfall.
So
I'm prettier.
This is one of the qualifying matches for the ladder match for TakeOver Tampa. So Chelsea Green is now in that. So
yeah, I forgot to make that note because I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, so I'm wondering who else is going to be in this match because Chelsea Green really hasn't shown us much yet, and I'm wondering if it's going to be a whole bunch of people that we really don't want in there, like Xia Li.
Well, I'd like to know two things.
Okay.
Number two is a multiple. First, I'd like to know how many women are going to be in the ladder match.
I would hope 6.
Also, I want to know who's vying for it and what are the matches. I want to know ahead of time. Spread them out. Let me get invested in this tournament. Well, it's not really a tournament.
It's just
let me get
qualifying.
invested in these qualifying matches to know who's going to be in the ladder match, and give me shit to look forward to next week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, even shit.
I'm starting to think we're going to get I think it's going to be a fatal 4-way ladder match because we only have so many more weeks until Takeover Tampa.
What, like 3 or 4 weeks?
Yeah, so 4 weeks would be 4 matches.
There you go. Or you could have multiple matches, or you could have matches at house shows, and put the highlights on the show.
That's
and
what
give
they
you a
should
reason
do.
to go to the house shows.
That's what they should do, but they probably won't.
Well,
actually, now they're listening to us too, seemingly. So
yeah, so we might get that done for you guys.
Yeah,
just by saying it.
just throwing it out there.
So we get an announcement here that Dominik Dijakovic is not going to be wrestling tonight. He's on a day-to-day basis because he suffered, and I quote, a hamstring hematoma last week when he faced Cameron Grimes, and Damian Priest came out and hit him with a tire iron in the back of the leg.
Mm-hmm.
So, my challenge to you guys real quick is, do you know what a hematoma is?
Please tell us.
A hematoma is just a bruise, man. You broke something open underneath the skin, and it bled for a while, and of course it's going to clog itself back up and fix itself. But you've got all that blood in there, and so it feels like all this damage. It goes away. All bruises, usually, eventually, go away. Unless he's anemic, I don't think he needs more than a week, probably.
Yeah.
So we'll see him back probably just in time for him to get his way into the North American Championship picture. Meanwhile, we're going to see the North American Champion. He comes out, Keith Lee. The crowd loves this guy.
Yes, they do. They're eating him up.
He just holds the mic and lets the crowd be the star for a minute because they just have all kinds of chants for him.
Mm-hmm.
When he does get on the mic, he says there's a lot of talk because he's supposed to be kind of addressing the North American Championship picture because he doesn't really have a contender. Regal's not doing anything about it.
Dijakovic, he wants to fight forever. Damian Priest wants to live forever. And before you can get another word out, we get Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes comes out, and I don't know if he's just weak-voiced. It sounds like somebody turned the volume down a little bit on his mic, because when Keith Lee talks, it's just boom.
Boisterous.
And the crowd starts turning on him because they don't like him that much, and they were planning on this, or the promo itself, because to me it felt weak, and it was really hard. And he's trying to sort of prop up Keith Lee and say, yeah, you had this awesome 20-minute match with Dominik Dijakovic, but his counterpoint was supposed to be, at least from what I heard, that he beat Dominik Dijakovic quicker than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And the crowd wouldn't let him get it out. Keith Lee even tried to shush the crowd, but anytime Cameron Grimes would try to talk, they would just boo and be louder than the mic.
Yeah.
And essentially, Cameron Grimes' message was he's already talked to William Regal, and William Regal has given him a match for the North American Championship next week.
At the Performance Center.
Which makes sense, though, because he beat the former contender for that same title. Whether it was shenanigans or not, it doesn't matter. The ref's decision is final.
W's a W.
But Keith Lee just shoves him out of the ring after he finds out that information. Gets on the mic, and he's like, next week is an equal opportunity ass whooping.
Mm-hmm.
And there you go. So we've got an interview with Austin Theory from, I don't know if it was earlier today, but it was from the YouTube channel. Not ours, WWE's. And
they have much more subscribers.
He calls himself the greatest in NXT already, and for some reason, Isaiah Swerve Scott just happens to be walking his dog or something. He's just around the yard. This is outside on the sidewalk. He comes over and he's like, "You're the greatest of all time, really?" He's like, "Well, let's test that out."
Come to Swerve's house. Let's see what's up.
And so this is just set up for a match we're going to get tonight, which is fine with me because I like to sit back and not let just William Regal put shit together.
Yeah.
How about shit happen organically? This is fine.
Mm-hmm.
They show Undisputed Era backstage prepping because they're getting into a tag match tonight with Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. And also, of course, we have the main event where Roderick Strong is facing Velveteen Dream inside our favorite steel cage.
That steel cage is magnificent.
It is. After the commercial, I'm assuming that's where we went to commercial because we go right into that tag match. Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, the Red Dragon, Undisputed Era, blah, blah, blah. Versus, now they're back to calling them the Brit and Bruisers after I think NXT UK realized it was better to call them the Brit and Brawlers.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line, it's one or the other. Anyway, Oni Lork and Danny Burch.
We like Brawlers better.
Yeah. Because it doesn't infringe upon Pete Dunne.
Peter Dune.
Peter Dune. I've got a few notes here. Not many, like 3.
We pretty much just saw a standard match out of the two teams.
Yeah, really. It wasn't not bad. It
was a great tag match.
It wasn't fun, but it wasn't not fun.
Yeah.
I don't know how to
pretty much the whole reason for this match was to put Undisputed Era back on on their winning ways just going further so they could possibly get back into tag title contention.
I don't know. I'm usually not a fan of just a regular match, like where there's not a lot of shit that just you haven't seen before. But I'm also not a fan of a match with a lot of downtime, and it didn't feel like this match had a lot of downtime.
No,
it was standard for sure.
They kept it moving,
but they kept the pace up for the whole match. And I do have a few notes, like Lorcan hitting a double blockbuster off the steps outside onto both of the Undisputed Era. That was right before commercial, and I'm sure commercial was where the downtime was, but didn't even really notice.
Nope.
Let's see. Burch also hits a top rope corkscrew running out of the ring to both of them outside, and then one of them gets thrown back in the ring, and Oni Lorcan goes for those dueling European uppercuts in the corner that he does, and coming off of one of them, both Fish and O'Reilly just run at each other, meet in the middle with a high-low, just out of nowhere, and get the 1, 2, 3, and I blinked and missed it to back it up. Like, I was like, what the fuck is happening?
It was just that proficient and that
I just
quick.
expected Oni Lorcan to hit those fucking European uppercuts, and then no, it was over. So that was cool. After that, the Undisputed Era get on the mic, and
Kyle, I love winning.
Yeah, he says, but something's missing. I can't put my finger on it. And Bobby Fish says, of course, it's the titles because they got taken by a makeshift tag team, the Loserweights. Mm-hmm. And this brings out Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne. Of course, Pete Dunne's not going to say anything, but Riddle does. He's like, you know what? You guys want a rematch? That's fine with the Stallion here and the Stallion there.
Pete Dunne, like right when he said that Stallion there, Pete Dunne just does his shrug, like, yeah, I'm cool with it.
And he says the biggest Stallion. He was going to say William Regal is going to make the match, but instead he gets attacked from behind by Zach Gibson and James Drake, who beat them down on the stage, and then Gibson gets on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
I love how we have these two teams where one of them's the mic guy and the other one's mostly silent.
Yeah.
Even though Pete Dunne's not bad on the mic when they write for him right. Anyway,
Pete Dunne is pretty much just like that Silent Bob character. He'll actually say, he'll talk with something very important that he needs to get out.
Well, Gibson says, as far as the tag titles are concerned, it's out with the old and in with the grizzled young veterans. Soon to be recognized as number 1.
We love them.
Which is better than number 2 for many reasons.
I don't know. Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch seem like they're okay being number 1 and number 2.
I'm the pissing you the shit up. So we get a video package promo for Austin Theory versus Swerve Scott. So somebody was just like, ooh, and then took a few hours before the show aired and put this down.
It was quick, it was efficient, and showed more or less their greatest hits. So that's fine.
But why did they need 2 vignettes to build up the match?
They didn't.
But before we get that match, briefly we see Velveteen Dream backstage getting ready somewhere with a lot of pink smoke. Mm-hmm. However you do that.
He has all the smoke.
So where are the Street Profits? They're getting gold elsewhere. Meanwhile, we have the match, Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Austin Theory. And as he's coming out, the first thought that came into my mind, and I don't know why, was, who is this jabromo? Apparently they said he's a former bodybuilder, which is fine and dandy, but being a bodybuilder doesn't mean that you're a fighter. Dandy. It's fine and or dandy.
Yes.
But I even saw somebody on Facebook said he's the next John Cena, and I'm like, no.
Mm.
He's built to where if he lost some of his muscle, he'd easily be under 205.
Mm-hmm.
And he wins the match, so he finally gets a win on NXT. But he was calling himself the greatest before his first win, and I just think that's a little bit out of order. I think he should have gotten the first win and then started calling himself the greatest, because he hadn't.
Well, him and Swerve put on a great match regardless.
Well, we know he lost to Ciampa. Didn't he lose to Finn Balor too?
I believe so.
He lost to. He hasn't had a win up until now. So anyway, got a few notes here though, because it was a fun little match.
Yeah.
Let's see. Austin Theory blocks a Hurricane Rana and hits a buckle bomb, and then an RP1. That's what he calls it, and it's sort of a fisherman suplex into a neck breaker over his shoulder, and that's gonna fuck up his shoulder.
Yeah.
He's gonna do that until he's about 25 or 26, and then he's not gonna do that anymore.
Nope.
Or he's gonna change to his right shoulder.
That's the scary part. He's only 22 years old. And he's already doing this well, so that's good.
I guess if you made it to NXT, you are doing this well.
Yeah.
Anyway, he gets a near fall off of that. Then he goes for... Earlier in the match, he hit one of those rolling thunder, jumping off the apron through the ropes into a drop kick. He hit one earlier, goes for it now, and ends up getting countered into an armbar, which just gets rolled all over the ring. And Swerve ends up... Because he got towards the ropes, so Swerve had to move the armbar in order to block him, but he ends up in a sort of a... Rings a Saturn position. But he's standing. So he takes his arm and steps on his wrist and does a stomp.
Yep.
And this essentially takes Austin Theory's left arm out of the mix. He doesn't get a pinfall or anything off of it. But
in the long run, it doesn't even make a difference.
Ends up, Theory rolls to the apron, gets up, and Swerve goes to the corner and tries to bring him in like he's going to do a Cesaro suplex out of the corner. And instead, Theory gouges his eyes and knocks him off the top rope, pulls his legs out from under him. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Which knocks him on the back of his head. And then he gets in the ring and does an ATL, an Austin Theory launch, which is a TKO, one arm. And he makes sure to show you that he's not using his left arm at all. So he picks him up and just, however the fuck he did it.
Yep, it looked great.
Yeah. And it worked. Got a pinfall. Finally got a win.
In theory, it worked.
So we're moving right along. Before our main event, we've got an interview with Johnny Gargano. Now, why do we have an interview with Johnny Gargano somewhere in the Performance Center where we're going to be next week for some reason? Didn't we have that before? We were like, maybe it's like a bring your family to work kind of thing.
Yeah, it was, I think.
This has happened before. I can't remember why.
It was halftime heat.
I don't think we're getting that now. Anyway, yeah, interview with Johnny Gargano. Mauro Ranallo is... so they can set up the cage. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave you hanging with that question. Mauro is trying to ask Johnny why. Because Tommaso Ciampa got on the mic and he said he knew why, but he didn't tell anybody what he thought he knew.
Cryptic bastard.
He just knows that he can't go after the NXT title while Johnny Gargano is still in the picture.
Yep.
So anyway, Mauro asks him why, and Johnny's like, "Do you know me, Mauro?" Mauro's like, "Yeah." And he's like, you willing to admit you're a liar?" He's like, "What?" And he starts in on Mauro Ranallo for basically welcoming Tommaso Ciampa back to NXT and saying "Daddy's home" kind of thing. Whereas immediately after Johnny hit him in the head with the title,
called him Johnny Turncoat,
cost him the championship match, he calls Johnny Turncoat. But anyway, he basically turns his whole interview on Mauro Ranallo and starts getting pissed off at him and kind of almost assaulting him.
Mm-hmm.
Getting in his face. At one point, he knocks his chair open, and he gets in his face, and he puts his hands on him, and he's straightening his jacket and shit, just I want you to look at that camera and admit to the audience that you're a liar. Basically, because he says two different ways about Johnny Gargano. Of course, this is all because of what Gargano did, but that's not the character, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing basically is a run around the question. He never answers the question of why he attacked Tommaso Ciampa.
But he does it well.
To the point to where Morrow tells the camera crew that he's got to
out.
leave because he's feeling uncomfortable. And I don't blame him. This was really well done.
It was intense.
Very. But that brings us to the main event. No, it doesn't. We get a video package for the main event. And then an announcement, which is basically a reminder. Well, no, there is an announcement. A reminder that Keith Lee versus Cameron Grimes will be next week for the North American Championship. But also, we're going to get the Tag Team Championships defended next week. The Broserweights versus the Undisputed Era.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. I don't know where the Grizzled Young Veterans come into all that. Like I feel like it should have been a triple threat match.
Whoever's going to win is going to be facing them at Tampa. So it's probably going to be Broserweights versus Grizzled Young Veterans.
And now we're on to the main event. So we've got Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong inside a steel cage. And Roderick Strong does come out by himself. He's got nobody else. I figured at least Adam Cole would come out with him because nobody came out with the tag team or the tag team of Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish when they came out to face Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch.
You didn't need anybody else though for that.
Yeah, they were scheduled to get the win. Why would you not? Anyway. However, at some point, the Undisputed Era does come out.
Yeah.
And I give them credit for the end of this one too. Very original, very compelling. I like it. And it was honestly kind of like this surprise out of nowhere. This like, oh wait, what?
Oh.
Like, say what? What were your thoughts on the main event, Jerry?
The cage match itself didn't really impress me too much because there really wasn't a lot going on. The aftermatch is what really sold me on it. So, with that said, like Roderick Strong got a couple backbreakers in. Velveteen Dream did a bunch of posing and posturing as per usual. But yeah, the aftermatch is what sold it for me. The cage match itself, I think Tegan Knox and Dakota Kai actually had a better cage match. And but for aftermatch wise, I think they knocked it out of the park with this one.
Yeah, Colin Andrews says, when's the last time we had a cage match that didn't have outside interference? I think he said this for the Tegan Knox match, but it applies here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been the only one in the chat room. We appreciate it, man. Sorry we don't get to you. He said, I called Dream versus Cole in Tampa, and it looks like we are getting it. Yeah, so the end of the match... Well, okay, there's some notes in here that are worth mentioning. First of all, Marina Shafir comes down with a kendo stick and feeds it to Roderick Strong to use on Velveteen Dream. Now, it fails. Like, of course, he swings at him and Dream ducks, and then he takes the kendo stick and beats on Roderick Strong. But then he comes into the corner and Strong kicks him in the balls. And this is commercial break time, so this is where he takes over.
Right in the dreamsicle.
Until he climbs the corner on Velveteen Dream, and Dream ends up hitting him in the balls. So, little payback's a bitch. Let's see. Strong hits this kendo stick pump handle backbreaker that I just thought was wicked looking. So imagine a pump handle slam, but he's got a kendo stick through him instead, picks him up, turns him over, backbreaker. Boom. This is great. And hits a fucking Olympic slam. Okay, so he goes up to climb out, and Velveteen Dream catches him and pantses him. Pulls his pants down, shows his ass to everybody. Of course, Strong can't do anything about it because he's holding on to the cage. Velveteen Dream comes up, and that's when he pulls his pants up, and they start trading blows. And then, Velveteen Dream gets the upper hand, starts to climb, only gets one leg over. This sets him up perfectly for Roderick Strong to Olympic slam him off the top of the cage. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. He gets a near fall off of it because it takes him forever to make a cover. Then they get back up. Dream hits two Dream Valley drivers, and then goes to the top of the cage. And since we don't know if he's going to try and do a top of the cage elbow drop or if he's going to try and climb down, that's when the Undisputed Era come out.
Yeah.
He fights them off. In fact, he uses Roderick Strong to throw into the cage and fight them off. At one point, he takes, I think it was Kyle O'Reilly. He goes through the corner of the cage where they've got that gap and smacks his face into the cage and then super kicks him along the top rope. Super kicks him off of the cage. Like, it was great. He throws Adam Cole off the top rope, and then at this point, he's so distracted with them that Roderick Strong goes to crawl out of the door. Well, what he doesn't realize is Velveteen Dream don't give a fuck.
Nope.
He goes over there and throws him out, gives Roderick Strong the win, and then shuts the door. And I don't know where the handcuffs came from. I guess Undisputed Era brought him down. Maybe they're going to try and handcuff him and embarrass him. Instead, he handcuffs the door shut, and he's in there with Adam Cole. And starts using Adam Cole's body to knock the rest of them out.
And little by little, we're like, oh.
Yeah, he attacks Adam Cole with the kendo stick and then fights off the Undisputed Era with that and a chair and Cole's body, and then does a Dream Valley driver onto the chair to Adam Cole. And he picks up the title and climbs to the top of the cage and poses with it, and
that's how we end the show.
That's how we end the show. Good stuff.
Yes.
I like the fact that he just didn't give a fuck. He got the win.
Yeah.
He got a match, one-on-one, even fought off the Undisputed Era, and still got the win. He didn't need to prove anything, but he did have an opportunity to lure Adam Cole into a locked cage.
Yes.
And try and get himself
and
a championship match.
I think that was the whole idea from the get-go. He already had beaten Roderick Strong, the week or two prior. So he already got his revenge on that part. The next step is to go after Adam Cole and the NXT Championship.
Now, before we rate this bitch,
yeah,
you had said to me that match at Tampa is going to be great, and he's going to look great, but he's not going to win.
Yeah.
I feel like, why the fuck not? Why not, Jerry?
I just don't see Adam Cole losing the Velveteen Dream losing the title to him.
Exactly the reason to do it. Exactly, because it's WrestleMania weekend when anything can happen, and if that's trust me, dude, if that's the least expected outcome, it could possibly happen. I mean, look what happened with The Fiend and Goldberg.
I actually got that one. I'm the predictions champion right now.
So I might go with Velveteen Dream when push comes to shove and we do our predictions.
We'll have to see within the next couple of weeks what happens.
Well, meanwhile, that brings us to the end of the main event. And here on What's NXT, we like to rate the main event using the General's 5-star rating system. Out of 5 stars, Jerry, rate this bitch.
I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4. Because, usually, with that kind of thing, with the match itself, it was neither here nor there with me, but the aftermatch was so strong with this one that I had to actually go up. Because it was going to be a 3 3/4. Because it was actually a pretty standard cage match, and it actually built along a storyline, and actually built a brand new one at the same time.
I gotta argue with you here. Normally, I would speak my opinion when it's my turn, but I feel like you're underrating this match. It's not just standard. We had pantsing. We had off the top of the cage Olympic slam. We had Marina Shafir come down and feed her husband a weapon, and then the aftermatch. And you're talking about the main event in itself is aftermatch included.
All right.
I'm just saying, I think you're underrating this match, but you do your thing.
So I'll go ahead and go 4.5 with it.
Damn, I got you up a half a star?
Yes, you did. You totally talked me into it.
Honestly, I was going to start it at 4.25 and give it an extra quarter star off the back of a great show. Because I feel like, especially the first, even though we make fun and we talk about, of course there's interference, there's nothing you can do about it. There's no disqualification.
It was still a great physical match.
It was a good match, and it had an interesting, not really intriguing, but a unique ending. The way that they, trapped her in that. So anyway, I'm going to agree with you at 4.5 total.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings us to the end of this episode of What's NXT. Thank you for joining us. Please join us tomorrow for the NXT party. We should be going live.
Yeah.
Our tea party guest will be my professor of sociology. He is decades into the wrestling business. Used to be in the wrestling business, not as a wrestler, but all around it, manager, shit like that. We're not sure yet if he's going to bring himself or if he's going to bring his character. I'm told his character is very unlikable, which it sounds fun.
Yep.
Anyway, since we're going to be, not using Skype, I figure we can go live.
Mm-hmm.
So please join us tomorrow live for the NXT party. Should be probably an hour earlier than this one, so maybe around 7:30, 8.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, if you would like to be on a future episode of the NXT party, you can contact us down below. Just leave us an email address or something like that. Or if you want to look me up on Twitter, it's at Stefan R. Osborne, STEFAN ROSBORNE. As always, the R stands for restricted. That was a little bit different, but I think I flowed through it
You,
nicely.
you nailed it.
You can also find the gentleman on Twitter.
At Gerald_JSJ, my Facebook group Armbar, all capital ARMBAR.
Exclamation point!
I like this. Yeah, it's the new thing. I'm gonna make a T-shirt out of it. That's what it's gonna be.
Nice.
Two arms with the armbar logo across it. And then we also have the Aftermatch Wrestling Facebook group and Aftermatch_Wrestling at Instagram that Colin Andrew runs, and Aftermatch Wrestling now on Twitter.
Which Colin Andrew runs.
I
think it's Aftermatch Rest.
Yep.
So just take the ling out of wrestling, and there you go. And
we take the ling out of wrestling.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram as well at Osborne.Stefan. He's on Instagram at the_gentleman_slaughter. And we are on Patreon at Stefan R. Osborne. And that's just, if you can help, that would be great. But bigger help would be if you have a little bit of time right now. Write this right now. If you like the show, click the like button over here. Underneath.
Somewhere around that area.
If you like all of our shows, you should do yourself a favor. Click the subscribe button over there underneath Jerry.
Somewhere.
So you can get all of our shows. Twice a week, man.
Twice.
At the very least. And when there's pay-per-views in town, we might do a predictions here or there. We definitely do them for NXT.
We do them for NXT. Not so much for the main brand stuff anymore.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But it's still fun. Anyway, also, if you would like to help our channel grow, click that share button and share us with Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or YouTube. Or if you don't want to click the share button, just wait. Just wait and tell people about us. They're like...
Hide our web addresses in the sandwiches.
Yeah, if you're at Walmart and you see somebody with a fucking NXT UK shirt on, definitely be like, hey, you should check out Aftermatch Wrestling. They've been covering NXT UK since the very first episode.
Yeah.
We know our shit.
Most of it.
I think that's all the plugs.
Yeah.
For the General, Jerry Slaughter. I'm the Wizard of No DQ, Stefan Osborne. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you NXT time.